I'm not going to get into every point, counterpoint. It's not productive here. We're here to celebrate the WNBA finals. I think what Indiana just did was amazing with all the injuries they had and the everything they faced this year, bringing that to a Game 5 in overtime. But yeah.
Somewhere inside the WNBA league office, a decision was just made that could change the entire second half of the Indiana Fever season. And when the news broke, it landed like a gut punch to Fever fans everywhere. Caitlin Clark is now standing on the edge of a cliff. One more whistle, one more questionable call from a referee somewhere in the next handful of games. That is all it will take to knock the league's biggest star out of a game entirely. Let's rewind for a second, because to understand how we got here, you need to understand exactly what happened and why so many people are furious about it. It was July 22nd. The Indiana Fever were absolutely dismantling the Connecticut Sun, up by nearly 30 points. The kind of lead that should have made the final minutes feel like a victory lap. Instead, it became the moment that put Caitlin Clark's season in jeopardy. In the middle of that blowout, Clark found herself in a heated exchange with Sun guard Saniya Rivers. Words were exchanged. Tempers flared, just for a second, the way they do in every competitive basketball game at every level. Clark looked at Rivers and told her to check the scoreboard, using language that was blunt, competitive, and honestly, pretty tame by the standards of professional sports trash talk. But the referee did not see it that way. A technical foul was issued. And just like that, Clark's name went into the record books for the 7th time this season. Now here is where the tension really begins to build. Under WNBA rules, a player who reaches 8 technical fouls in a single season is automatically hit with a 1-game suspension. Not a warning, not a slap on the wrist, an actual suspension, pulling the league's most watched, most talked about, most economically significant player off the court entirely. 7 technicals, 1 away from the line. And the Fever knew exactly what was at stake. So they did the only thing they could do. They fought back. The organization filed an official appeal, asking the league to review the situation and rescind the technical foul before it could count against her. It was a calculated gamble, the kind of move you make when you understand just how much is riding on a single ruling. For days, nobody knew which way it would go. Fans flooded social media with their opinions, and the reaction was loud, immediate, and almost entirely one-sided. People were furious that a simple heat-of-the-moment comment, the kind uttered in nearly every professional sports game ever played, could be the reason a superstar might miss a game. The phrase, "look at the scoreboard," became a rallying cry, a symbol of what many saw as an overly sensitive officiating crew swinging a hammer where warning would have done just fine. Every hour that passed without a ruling added more weight to the moment. Would the league listen to the outcry? Would they recognize what was obvious to so many fans watching at home? Or would they stand firmly behind their referee's judgment, regardless of the consequences? And then, the answer came. A league source, speaking on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to comment publicly, confirmed the ruling to USA Today Sports. The WNBA had made its decision. The appeal was denied. The technical foul would stand. No reversal. No mercy. Caitlin Clark's 7th technical foul was locked into the record, and with it, the countdown clock officially began ticking toward a suspension that could arrive at literally any moment. Think about what that means for a player performing at the level Clark is performing at right now. This isn't a bench player. This isn't someone on the fringes of a roster fighting for playing time. This is a player currently ranking among the very best in the entire league in both scoring and assists, a walking highlight reel who moves ratings, moves ticket sales, and moves the entire cultural conversation around women's basketball every single time she steps onto the court. And now, every single game she plays comes with an invisible asterisk attached. One more technical, one heated word to an official, one frustrated reaction after a missed shot. That is genuinely all it would take to trigger a 1-game suspension and an accompanying $1,500 fine. Picture Clark stepping onto the floor for the Fever's next game. Every possession now carries an extra layer of pressure that has nothing to do with the scoreboard. Every closeout, every box out, every disagreement with a referee's call becomes a moment where she has to consciously restrain herself, knowing that one wrong step ends with her watching from the sideline in street clothes. For a competitor like Clark, someone who has built her entire career on fire, on edge, on refusing to back down from anyone on the floor, that kind of restraint might be the hardest challenge she has faced all season. And here is the part that makes this so much bigger than one single technical foul. The Fever have 16 games remaining in the regular season. 16 opportunities for frustration to boil over. 16 chances for a referee to make a judgment call that could sideline the most important player in the sport for an entire night. Every fan, every opposing coach, every referee walking onto the court for a Fever game now knows the stakes. And that knowledge changes everything. Will officials be more cautious calling technicals against her, wary of triggering a suspension that would dominate headlines? Or will some referees feel an unspoken pressure to hold the line precisely because everyone is watching, determined not to look like they are giving a superstar special treatment? Nobody knows the answer. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes the next stretch of Fever basketball must-watch television. Because somewhere in these final 16 games, this story is going to reach its climax. Either Clark navigates the pressure perfectly, channeling her competitive fire without ever crossing that final line, proving she can control the emotion that makes her so magnetic to watch. Or the pressure gets to her, a frustrated word slips out at exactly the wrong moment, and the league's biggest star finds herself suspended during the most critical stretch of the season, missing a game the Fever desperately need as they push for playoff positioning. One whistle, one night, one decision by one official, somewhere out there, waiting to happen. The countdown has already started. And nobody, not the fans, not the Fever, not even Caitlin Clark herself, knows exactly when the moment of truth will finally arrive.